Suzanne Lyons here again, and here we are in week 2, tip number 4 on our series on goal setting, on my YouTube series on goal setting. So thank you for joining me again today. I hope you've been really enjoying the homework that you've been given over this past week and a half and been doing it, and congratulations if you have. The last time what we worked on was our 1-year goal, and where we talked about being very specific and, had specific measurable results and, it being doable and so on. Here's what I want to work on today. Tip number 4 is timeline and milestone. And I'll explain why that is so important, because here's what happens with our 1-year goal. It's fantastic, but what happens is we treat it like a New Year's resolution. And you know very well what happens with New Year's resolutions. Nothing. Okay, we do our New Year's resolutions, and it's so big. It's so big. Like, I'm going to raise $200,000 for my first feature film, my romantic comedy, by December 31st. And then it's so scary. It's so daunting. It's so paralyzing that we stop. I'm not kidding. I literally, and Kate, the two of us, on one of our projects, we kind of both went unconscious for about 2 or 3 months because it was so big. And what the timeline and milestone does is it has you break it down into what I call bite-sized pieces. It makes it doable. It makes it something that we can handle. Otherwise, it's almost too big to get our head around, and we, go south. Honestly, it's kind of like human being. It's great to be human being. It's got its good side, but it's got its downsides, and that is sometimes we're scared. And when the going gets tough, we go south. In my case, if there's no back door, I tell people, I'll build one. I'll go to a movie before I'll write one or make one. It's like whatever's easier. So by breaking it down into little pieces, it's just so much easier. So what I want you to do is I want you to get some poster boards. Like I keep staples, I'm sure, in business because I buy so much poster board. And then I want you to put the months of the year. In this case, for the sake of argument, let's just say it's January. And, your goal is by the end of December. So put January, February, March, like all the months of the year. And then where I want you to start with that is with the milestones. And if this were January, where the milestones would be April 1st, July 1st, and October 1st, okay? So that's where the big chunks would happen. And what's so great about milestones is they give us targets that let us know if our actions and who we are being is sufficient to accomplish our goal. That's what's so great about a milestone. Do you know what the Romans did years ago? And that's where the name came from, actually, is they would put a rock in the road as they were, making the roads and designing them for after every mile or so. It let them know at any given time where they were and what they'd accomplished. Isn't that brilliant? So there's for me, it takes the mystery out of success because, you have literally said, no, this is what needs to happen. In order to fulfill on what my goal is, if I've got to raise that money, here's the major things that need to happen by these milestones, by these kind of landmarks, along the way, to let you know that you are accomplishing and you are sufficiently doing what you need to do and being who you need to be to make that happen. I think it's absolutely brilliant, honestly. I could not live without doing milestones. I don't know how anybody could. So get your big poster board, start, putting that up there, and then start to write down what are those big chunks, that you'd have to do. For example, and let's use the last time I talked about the guy who was going to be writing his book, and having his book sold and onto the advance. Here's what some of the milestones could be, for example, for April 1st, if this were January. That I would have the first draft of my book complete. That could be one of the major things that would happen as a milestone. One of the other major milestones for July 1st could be that he would have had submitted it to agents, for example. And then by October 1st, another milestone could be that the book sells, and then by December, he's reached his goal. He's got the advanced on his second book, okay? Now, there may be a number. There may be 4 or 5 things in each of those milestones, kind of those big chunks along the way. So that's what I'd like you to do for your homework, for your exercise this time. And start to take that goal that you did last time on the last tip and start to break it down, okay? Just for now, into the milestones, into the major, chunks along the way, okay? Like April 1st, July 1st, October 1st, all right? Start to break it down. And then we'll work on the next tip. So just now, let's just stay with me, just take one tip at a time, all right? So that we can make it easy and make all this very doable. And that's it, all right? So thanks for being with me today. Look forward to seeing you next time for tip number 5. Thank you.